I could barely get to sleep last night. Could barely go to sleep. What's good, y'all? So yesterday I started my journey of writing lyrics, and I started jotting down, plotting out thoughts. I would write down, yesterday I wrote down words, topics, ideas, things that I was bothered by, things that I've been interested in. And then I thought, well, am I running out of ideas? So I jumped online and I looked for some writing prompts. Those writing prompts got me into a whole new mindset. And I thought to myself, yo, this is the next level. I laid down, I got back up, started writing. I laid down again and I got back up and started writing. I got up at 4 a.m. this morning with thoughts in my mind of what I wanted to write about. So today I had to take my car to get it serviced because, it's just that time of the month basically where I had a little time to sit, look at some more writing prompts. But while I was sitting there, because some of the research I was doing last night basically told me, and I guess it tells people, go look at other people's stories, go look at different videos, go look for things you can observe and write about. If you haven't been through something yourself, I guess it's good to just take a look at what other people are going through. Led me down a rabbit hole, y'all. The rabbit hole of baby mama drama, the rabbit hole of Black culture, America. I was like, influencers, the difference between an influencer and a celebrity. What is financial, gain? What is this? What is that? And I'm like, it is so much to talk about, so much to write about from so many different perspectives. And I sat there just baffled at some of the stories that I was hearing. Now, you can call me, people used to call me a baby because there were certain things that I, as a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, now 40-year-old woman, was just not aware of. And I was always okay with that. You wanna know why? Because I know what I know because I know what I know. Either I've experienced it or I've had conversations about it. And if I have not had conversations about those certain things, then I'm okay with that. Life is life, because everybody's not going to be at the same point in life at the same time. When you were 20, you were probably doing whatever. Maybe I wasn't. When I was 20, I might have been college, which I was. Maybe you weren't. Nothing is wrong. And what I'm really understanding from this, and even just getting started with the writing process, nobody knows anything. Everybody is literally out here doing the best that they can with whatever they have in life. So I say that to say this. I am in the second day of my writing, and I have a notebook that is filled with ideas already. And I'm taken aback by all the things that you could sit back and write about. The next thing is this, the genre. I spoke yesterday about writing rock music, R&B music, maybe a little hip hop in there, a little jazz, a little pop, things of that nature. I do not want to limit my genre, only for one reason. When we think R&B music, the majority of the time we think love. Nothing wrong with that. But we're thinking love, we're thinking sex, we're thinking sensuality, we're thinking romance. When we're talking hip hop, we're talking conceitedness, thugs, baby mama drama. I don't know that lifestyle. Sorry, I don't. And I can't really write about that. If I do, it'll definitely be coming from a place of observation. It's definitely not going to be coming from a place of, sheer, experience. There are some moments of the rap culture, hip hop culture, where I can understand. But I prefer not to dibble and dabble because some of the music gets a little negative. It doesn't mean that mine has to be, but we'll see what comes of that. And you know, let me throw this out here. Even when I was just talking a second ago, I felt the need to explain that being a Black woman, I know I don't always look it, but being a Black woman, sometimes we feel like, and not just being a Black woman, but just being Black, period. We feel the need to explain when we decide to do something outside of our cultural norm or our stereotypical norm. Let me tell y'all something. I am a musician. If I want to write a rock song like Tina Turner, let me do that. If I want to write a song like Bon Jovi, let me do that. If I want to write a song that mirrors Madonna, I'm going to do that. I refuse to be boxed in and bow down to cultural norms because people think it's where you're supposed to be. That's how people get boxed into, you know, specific and certain ideas. And that's just not my life. I don't resonate with that. So that felt good to get out. So I've at least started the process, and I just need to know where to go from here. From some of the other readings that some of the other research that I've run across, it's told me to focus in on writing lyrics in the form of poetry. And I think people forget that. I always ask my students, what does rap mean? And they think I'm talking about just defining rap. But I always tell them the R, the A, and the P, y'all, it's rhythm and poetry. And a lot of times, not even just in rap music, we forget there has to be some kind of poetic line. And even if it's not a poetic line, my goal is to make stories, short stories in the form of melodies, in the form of audible melodies, if that makes any sense. So I just wanted to check in with you guys to let you know where my brain was. I did not work out today because all I wanted to do was stay in the house and write. And that's where I am with it right now. So I'm pretty sure once I get all of my lyrics down, I don't even know the next step because there's no real succinct step. You know, one step after another. Everybody has a different writing process. When I looked at Taylor Swift, she plays the piano, she plays chords and things. Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't. One artist was like, look, a lot of times we'll go to the microphone, play a bunch of tracks, and whatever comes out, comes out. Well, me, I'm not about to go to the studio because that's a lot of money. I'm not about to go to the studio just to play a bunch of tracks and stand in front of a microphone. I have to take a different approach here. So my approach for right now is going to be writing lyrics and getting as many poems, stories, ideas, formatting them in a way that it actually makes sense to become a song. And that's that for right now. But I just wanted to let y'all know how crazy it was and how many different ideas I found just searching up prompts. It is amazing. You can talk about love in 500 different ways. You can talk about everything in a lot of ways. So I hope y'all are having a marvelous day. I'll check y'all later.